or an economist or any of the fields that are represented today. But when I thought about the significance, there is no question that in the field of information science, we understand the importance of the replication of any research findings. In fact, my area is archives, where people read documents and see whole different things in those documents. So it's a different way of doing that. Though certainly the idea of maintaining data and maintaining the algorithm so things can be run and making publicly available is something that people from my field are very concerned with. So I looked at the importance of this in a different way. I looked about, well, who's here? And where have people come from? And in some ways, this is both the challenges of living in a pandemic that I think I do slightly hinted on is like, how are you today? Well, who knows? But so I just for fun, I looked at all your CVs and bios, and I started very sort of provincially and thought, okay, in Canada, I'll name the cities I saw represented. So I saw there were lots of people from Toronto, there's Guelph, there's Kingston, I think there's BC now, of course, and I've just gone to, and there's London. So, and that's London, Ontario, because I also realize in England, there is London, England being represented here. In the US, the states that I saw represented, and I got your state wrong, I apologize, is Massachusetts, Arizona, Illinois, California, Washington, D.C., and Texas. And I have to say, it was a little tricky with the industry partners because it was hard to find the address. And worldwide, all the other countries. And I note that I'm going to start with Australia because I understand it's 1 o'clock in the morning there. So I don't know if they're still asleep or whether it's so important. But we do have England, France, Argentina, Chile, and now I can't read my handwriting, Germany, Scotland, and if I've missed you on the country you represent, I'm sorry. I also thought what was so exciting about this is that when you live within academia, it's not that often that industry cares. And what this conference shows is industry cares. And not only that industry cares, but industry has great expertise. And again, I read your CVs and I saw that you have economists, you have political scientists, you have consultants, you have scientists, you have, and I was very excited about the data journalist and wow, working for the Washington Post, which I read every morning. So I thought that all of those. The other thing that I was so impressed with the bios that I looked at is this is not just an academic conference where senior professors sit around. You have undergraduate students, you have grad students, you have postdocs, you have research fellows, you have assistant professors, and we have a Canada Research Chair, or you have a Canada Research Chair at your conference. And I think that, to me, that indicates the huge importance of this. And I see that you have 92 participants at this very moment. So again, I will leave it to you and hand it over. I think I have a few minutes, but I am deeply impressed at the scholarship that has been organized and that will be presented over these next 2 days. And I do think, as Radu said, it is that, oh, that's funny. Or I was also told, I have a brother who's a computer scientist that said, you know what, we really like difficult problems. We don't want the easy problems. And so I think that there is no question this is a difficult problem. I think that it'll only be solved from a kind of interdisciplinary approach and these various ways we look at it, certainly stats, certainly economics, political science, all of these various eyes on this tricky, wicked problem, as they sometimes say. And again, I also think the partnership of a community that is not, and as much as I love being an academic, not just academe, but actually ones where there's industry that want to solve this problem so that it actually can be implemented in real world solutions. And so I welcome you to these 2 days. I look forward to hearing about the outcomes and some of the great papers. I thank you very much for joining us virtually at the University of Toronto. And I also want to deeply thank Roanne for organizing many years ago, a couple years ago, I guess. Roanne said to me, I'd like to organize this little data warehouse thing. And, we'll come together and we'll talk about data cleaning, at lunchtime. And could you give me coffee and cookies for the speakers? And I'm like, yeah, sure. What a great idea. And who would have thought, Roanne, that would morph into this amazing community that around the world. And so, I celebrate the pandemic in that it's probably brought you all here without getting on an airplane, traveling. So hopefully one day we will be able to actually welcome you to the amazing city of Toronto and the University of Toronto. So thank you very much, and I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you very much, Wendy. That reminds me, if we were in Toronto, I would have some sort of constitutional obligation to tell you where the nearest Tim Hortons is. And so in my case, it's just a block away. So hopefully maybe next year in Toronto. But thank you very much, Wendy, for the words. That was very interesting. Our first keynote is Mina. And Liza, are you going to? Yeah.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, middle of the night, everyone. Thank